Well, Graeme, could you tell us how your week's been since Tuesday in terms of training? Because struggles yesterday.
I think the whole country struggled yesterday, but we took advice from the travel and our security consultants to make sure the guys would be safe coming in today. We obviously didn't want to put anyone at risk, but our ground staff have worked wonders to get us on grass today. So we've had a good training session today, get a little bit of a blowout for the lads. They've had 2 days off, but they were feisty and hungry and very, very bright today. So we thank our ground staff for the efforts that they put in, because it wasn't easy, but I think we're one of the few teams possibly in the country that would be on grass today, and we really appreciate the efforts that they've made for us. So the guys put a good session in today, really enjoyed it.
No doubts about Sunday's game at all?
As far as I'm aware, that we're taking advice at the moment, but we should be okay. Obviously, we respect the decision of the SFA and the police, because player and supporter safety is paramount, but so far as we can see, there's nothing to indicate that the game would be at risk.
How's the pitch down at Ibrox? Have you had a chance to get a report on it? I mean,
not yet.
Snow,
not yet, but we've got a fantastic ground staff, as I just said, and we're confident that if we get the go-ahead, the pitch will be fine for us to go and play.
I think Falkirk are training today for the first time since Tuesday, so I mean, everyone's in the same boat, I guess.
Yeah.
So, with your preparation not that badly affected, how do you view this game in on Sunday in terms of the challenge that you face, given that Falkirk are in decent form despite their league position?
It's a big challenge for us, because we know that anyone coming to Ibrox is not necessarily going to be as open or as expressive as they may be at home, but we have to go and embrace the challenge and take it as a positive thing, because we can go and set down another marker on the journey that we're on. We're in a good way at the moment. The guys are very, very positive. They're hungry for the next challenge, and once again they wanted to go and win the next game, get through to the next round, and really finish the season off on a high. I've said to them all the way through that you just have to go and win the next game, and they're really enjoying their football at the moment.
We've talked at length at different points of the season about the home form being slightly contrasting to the away form. Does the result over Hearts then, the fact that you got a good result and a clean sheet at home, has that really kind of been part of your talk this week in terms of the fact that you can go and break teams down? The guys are capable of getting a good result at home without the pressure.
I think the manner of the performance as well, and the control that we showed and the chances that we created, albeit we didn't take that opportunity to get the second goal until later on, really gave the boys confidence. And then you saw the confidence flow through the team, I thought, at St Johnstone, where we actually moved the ball really well in the first half. I thought the first half was as good as we've played this season. We just need to make sure that we understand how to get success, and success isn't necessarily going to come through goals straight away. It comes through doing the right things and making good decisions and being comfortable with the pressure of playing at Ibrox. I think that we showed against Hearts that we can deal with anything our opponents throw at us. We just have to make sure that we're not our own worst enemy by being lax or slack or giving them any hope. What we have to do is try and extinguish that hope as soon as possible and continue to be relentless and positive and aggressive in our play.
You've spoken about levels and where the boys need to get to at points of the season, but is there signs, specifically when you look at the first half in Perth the other night, that the team are getting to the sort of level you think they should be getting to, that they're now able to totally sort of control and dominate games?
We're moving towards where we want to be. We're not there yet. We can still improve. And I think the best sign for me was the guys having a conversation after the game at St Johnstone with the second half. They weren't happy with their performance. They weren't happy with what we attempted to do after going 4 up. They thought they'd actually slackened off a little bit too much, which is really positive for me as a manager, because I look at that as a good indicator of where this group is and where they understand they could get to. As I keep on saying, though, we're not there yet. We still have improvements to make, but the hunger and the positivity of the group to go and make those adjustments is a really positive thing.
I spoke to you after the game and I said something about, I think that was the first time you'd won 5 games in 2 years, and you didn't seem too bothered about that. I mean, is that a sign of that there's bigger prize available at this club, and you believe now that you are capable of sort of achieving those?
I think when you look at the standards set at this football club down the years, we're striving to be up at that level. We're not there yet, and 5 games in a row, albeit it's good, and we want to praise the guys. We've got to continue on. It means nothing if you then go and take your foot off the pedal, because we want to accelerate from here. We want to get better from here, and the overriding message to the players and to the fans is we're not what we need to be. We're on the right path. We're going in the right direction, but we can get better, and we will get better. And I've got no doubt that this group of players, as they understand each other more, as they understand playing together more, can improve their levels and can show even more control and a greater level than they've shown previously, because I still think we're just at the outset of the journey.
It's given that the improvements have been made, is the next step now to win a trophy? Is that the next step that you guys?
It's always the challenge at this football club to win a trophy, to be challenging for a trophy. The guys know what we expect from them. I've said to them, go and compete in every trophy and every competition that you're in. We have another opportunity on Sunday to go and take the next step, and it's all about that. It's all about focusing on the next step and making sure we build something. But as we said, it's a one-off game. We need to make sure we get the game taken care of and do it in the right way, because we don't want to look at winning a trophy until we get the opportunity. We haven't given ourselves the opportunity of winning the trophy yet. We have to get to the final. So what we have to do is take care of our next opponent, and that's all we'll be focusing on.
Who's Jamie Murphy?
He's all right. We're having him assessed at the moment. It may be too soon for him on Sunday, but that's yet to be decided, because he's a hardy guy and he's a positive guy and he wants to be involved in every game. But we'll take medical advice and we'll look at obviously our games coming up, because we've got some big games coming up, and we'll make a decision from there.
So are we ruling him in or out of next week Sunday?
Yes, we're ruling him in and out.
Wallace could feature Sunday. Is he ready
good.
to go?
Yeah. He's getting closer towards where he needs to be and where he wants to be. We just need to make sure that obviously we get people in the right frame of mind and in the right physical state to cope with the load, because we're going to need everyone. We've got big games coming up, and he's obviously another option. He's a big player for us, and we just make sure that when we put him on a pitch, that there's nothing in front of him that stops him. So if we get him in that state, then it'll be good for the squad.
Declan John, is there any update on Declan John's condition?
We're waiting to hear back. But he's quite positive. He's a sturdy guy. He's fairly robust, I think, as the fans have seen this season. And we're hopeful we can get him back soon.
The chat has already started, of course, ahead of next weekend, because Celtic's game is off.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to win it and come out on top there, the gap is getting narrower and narrower. There's the carrot is there for the players if nothing else, and the anticipation of it, I guess, is going to be more than perhaps in recent games between Celtic and Rangers when it comes around.
Well,
yeah.
I think that's the same with every Old Firm game, but we've got a really, really big game on Sunday that we need to take care of. So any players that are looking towards that next game will get short shrift from me, because that would be disrespectful to our opponent. I know the fans are looking at the next game. I know it's looming large on the horizon, but let's take care of the next step and make sure we perform properly on Sunday, and then we can give our full attention and our full drive and power towards that game after that.
Can I ask you about Sean Goss? Ian Holloway's said a couple of things in the last few days. Has there been contact between the two of you about that, or were you surprised at what Ian said?
I was asked a question about Sean. I said that Sean's doing particularly well. He's bedded in really nicely. He understands what it means to play for Rangers, and he's doing really well. Sean is a QPR player. I said that from the outset. I've always said that from the outset. If he becomes available, that'll be a discussion. As far as I understand it, Les has said he's not for sale. I said that at the very, very outset of the interview. So there's no problem between us. There's no problem between the clubs. We understand the situation at the moment. All we can say is I think it's been a positive for both parties. It's positive for us because he's playing really well, and it's positive for a young man. He's getting out and he's playing football. So he's showing what he can do, and we're benefiting from that.
You've not needed to speak to Ian about it?
We've spoken.
We're quite.
Mark has spoken to Les, who's their director of football, and reiterated our position and reiterated what I actually said about Sean as well. So we know the situation. We're comfortable with the situation, and Sean merely has to focus on himself and playing football really well, and he's done that really well for us so far.
There's no fear that the headlines and the stories that were in the papers this week may have damaged your chances perhaps of landing him into the season?
It won't be down to us. It'll be down to his parent club to decide what's going to happen with him. It'll be down to the young man himself. But what we're doing is we're enjoying having him here, and he's enjoying playing his football. So let's just celebrate that and worry about other things on another time. The
partnership between him and Greg Docherty seems to be burgeoning at the moment. You spoke about Greg, I think, after the Hamilton game, and how you had to perhaps limit some of his role and try and get him to play without that hesitation, taking an extra touch. I suppose the goal has a part in Josh Windass's goal the other night as a sign that perhaps is he getting to that level that you're looking for? He's very coachable. He's a bright kid. He wants to learn. He's hungry to do really, really well. He has to understand that he's at a football club where there's good footballers all around him, and he can trust them to go and find him with the ball. He doesn't have to go hunting out of position. And I think that the biggest indicator of his
comfort with that is the relationship he has with Sean. He can trust Sean to get on the ball. He can trust him to shift the ball to him. He doesn't have to go hunting across lines. He can just make sure he does his own job. And that's all we ever say to the players, is make sure you do your own job really, really well and then support your teammate. We don't have to do anything other than that. And I thought that Greg dropped into the game at Hamilton and he tried really, really, really hard and almost too hard. And you could see that. And now he's relaxing a little bit. He's trusting himself. He's trusting his teammates. And I thought the second goal was a really good indication that they're understanding one another better. But as I said at the start of this group is merely taking its first steps, and they will get better and they will get stronger once they understand how good they can truly be.
Do you think your past in youth development has been beneficial to your role at the moment? That there's guys here that are young that can still be developed and coached, and does that sort of fit into what you're trying to do now?
I think my past, full stop, as a player, as a captain, as a coach, can help, because different people need different things at different times. It's down to the manager and the coach to see that person as an individual and just guide them gently. Some people need a kick up the backside, some people need an arm around the shoulder, some people need to see themselves on video to see what they're doing or what they're not doing. Josh Windass was a good case in point. We had a good chat with him about the building blocks of his game, what he needs to look like, and he's taken that to heart. Greg will take stuff to heart, but once again we have a group of players here that can develop further, can get better. I want that mindset for them, and I think that is possibly the most positive thing that I've got to bring to the group is that desire and that understanding that they can always get better than they currently are.
Back to the left back situation, does Andy Halliday's performance the other night give you sort of comfort that you don't have to rush the likes of Lee Barton if he's not ready yet?
I've always said that people missing out is an opportunity for someone else, and Andy's been patient. He's had to bide his time since he's come back, but I thought he played really well. It's not his position, but he's slotted in really well. He can be fitter and sharper, but he's getting towards where he needs to be. But he gave us really nice balance on that left-hand side, and he's a good footballer. He's played at this level. I know sometimes he gets stick, unwarranted in my opinion, but he's a good footballer that understands the level and he understands what we're trying to do. Once again, he's coachable. He listens to instruction really well, and I thought he actually sacrificed himself and a bit of his ego to do a job for the team at St Johnstone. I think that was overlooked a little bit. He played out of position, but accommodated it really, really well for the team, and that needs praising in and of itself. And
Bruno as well, obviously coming back in at the end of the game, give you added headache in terms of choosing between who's going to be.
It's a good headache to have, though, isn't it? It's a good headache to have a man of his stature, a player of his calibre coming into the group and pushing now. And I thought it was important to get him on the pitch. I didn't want to do it at Hamilton because of the nature of his last injury, but getting him on at that score, knowing that St Johnstone were going to, and had been getting the ball into our box, having someone like Bruno to go and put in there and get him minutes, I thought was vital for him and makes it easier for us to include him going forward.
Is it important to get him some game time before with the Celtic game sort of looming? Is he sort of, obviously his experience could be useful in that sort of environment?
I've got lots of players that I want to get game time for. I'm unfortunate, and they're unfortunate that we can only play a few people at a time. The good thing for me is the people who are playing at the moment are performing, and they're setting a standard. So anyone who's not actually playing at the moment can see why. It's not a personal thing. They can't come knocking on the door saying you don't like me. It's just we're trying to get the team flowing and the team into a better place, and they can see that. They understand that we're in a good place at the moment. As I've always said, it's up to those people to try and add something different and add positive energy to the group. Bruno is one of those guys who definitely brings something to the group that's different. He's a big personality, he's a big character, and we're going to need to utilise everyone in the squad for the rest of the season.